So this past September, I was in Kansas City for the National Weather Association annual meeting, and so my wife and I took a detour on the way to the airport. We had to go to the Aviation Weather Center and do selfies in front of the building. I don't know why.
Did you guys go inside?
No, we didn't have time. I had to catch a flight.
It was all Luana's idea, I'm sure.
Of course it was. Yeah.
Okay. But I will take you inside here to show you the operations of the Aviation Weather Center. This is the last part of my series on the National Centers for Environmental Prediction, focusing on all aspects of weather across the country and the globe. But this week we're going to be talking about the weather and how it impacts flights all across the globe. So the Aviation Weather Center, as Kevin mentioned, is located in Kansas City, Missouri. So aside from a flight delay due to storms, there are a variety of other hazards that could potentially impact your flight. So the Aviation Weather Center forecasts these potentially hazardous weather conditions to help ensure the most accurate and up-to-date weather information is available for pilots. You might have to change routes of planes. You might need to delay a flight in order to make sure that it's not going to go into those hazardous weather conditions. So within the Aviation Weather Center, there's two main branches. The Domestic Operations Branch focuses on the lower 48, forecasting for these 5 main variables. So turbulence, obviously, there is clear air turbulence and convective turbulence with thunderstorms, but that's your bumpiness in the flight that you would encounter. Icing, with different layers of the atmosphere, can deposit water and then freeze onto the plane, and that could be problematic where you have icing conditions. Sealing and visibility, convective, again related to thunderstorm development, and that could disrupt planes, lead to turbulence. And then traffic flow management, they can put restrictions or alter routes in order to make sure that planes get to their location safely and to ensure the smoothest ride possible. They also have an international operations branch that focuses on other parts of the globe. So first variable with the cloud ceiling and visibility. So your cloud base is the lowest visible part of the clouds versus the cloud ceiling is the distance between the ground and the base of the lowest layer of clouds that blanket more than half the sky. So we really want to focus on that cloud ceiling as well as your visibility distance. And there's different categories here, ranging from LIFR to VFR. So you can have green to red to magenta. Good conditions when there's not many clouds in the region, visibility is great, and very bad conditions when that cloud base is really close to the ground and visibility is low for taking off of flights. Icing, here's one of their forecasts from the Aviation Weather Center's website, identifying those areas across the country that have that icing threat, because icing can be pretty impactful to flights with decreased lift, increased weight, drag, and reduced thrust. And there's different layers of the atmosphere where there's supercooled water droplets in the atmosphere, specifically when you have really tall clouds, can deposit themselves onto planes' wings in clear or rime ice formats. And then with the convective warnings, they're called SIGMETs. It's kind of like a thunderstorm we have here, warning that we have here on the ground, but for airplanes, because those tall cumulonimbus clouds can introduce turbulence and other hazards to planes. And here's that turbulence forecast that they have across the country. And Amanda at the Aviation Weather Center will kind of go more into that turbulence forecast.
So if it is turbulence tied to some sort of thunderstorm or developing storms, that's going to be your convective SIGMET forecaster. And so they're watching radar, they're watching satellite trends, and they're also looking at different model guidance to put out an outlook for where they think there will be the potential for development in the future. As far as when you get your clear air turbulence, they're looking at satellite to watch for certain signatures that are good indicators of turbulence, and then our model guidance as well.
So with the Domestic Operations Branch, you have to forecast the whole lower 48 at the Aviation Weather Center. You get more localized and specific forecasts with the Center Weather Service units. So there's 21 air traffic control centers across the nation. We're mostly within the Minneapolis Air Traffic Control Center. So the CWSUs provide more specific forecasts and advisories for each one of these air traffic route centers. So there's briefings that are conducted by each of these centers every day to provide situational awareness of upcoming aviation issues, as well as forecasts for many of the variables that the Aviation Weather Center focuses on. So there's a collaborative effort there, as well as a few more specific ones here, like surface wind gusts. Today it's very windy, so as planes are taking off and landing, there's extra precautions there that need to be taken so that the flights go smoothly. and safety is taken into account. So for example, today, here's that low-level turbulence forecast from the Minneapolis Central Weather Service unit. And then there's even more collaboration with the air traffic control centers, and these match up with the Central Weather Service units. So within the air traffic control airspaces, they're all managed by the FAA Command Center, which is located just outside of DC in Virginia, and Roland will explain kind of the tasks that are done there. On the day that I was talking to him, there were storms moving across the Jacksonville airspace.
We're looking at the storms that are coming across the Jacksonville airspace, and right off the bat this morning, there was a conference to make sure that are we still looking at the same conditions that we saw yesterday for today. So we make adjustments accordingly with the weather information, and then the air traffic folks decide what's the best avenue to keep the air traffic flowing smoothly and efficiently.
So the FAA Command Center focuses on those specific airspaces depending on where the weather is most impactful, and they provide that clear and concise message so that everyone can work together on this plan and then implement the plan. Because there's a lot of moving factors when you look at the aviation space. To get that flight from the starting point to the ending point on time in a safe manner, altering routes based on weather across the nation that could be impactful to plans. So within the Aviation Weather Center, the Central Weather Service units, and the FAA Command Center, it's all working together to make sure behind the scenes that your flight goes smoothly.
There's a lot of coordination and collaboration that goes on,
this
right?
is all your wheelhouse here, weather and airplanes.
Love it all.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank
Stay
you.
with us. We'll be right back.